So if you run an HVAC shop and people say that you underpay your technicians, this video is for you because the math says something very different. A typical HVAC install in this year cost a homeowner about $14,000, okay? And the two technicians who actually did the work made about, I don't know, $500 off of that. Combined, that's like 3.6%, which means the other 96% of what the customer paid of this $14,000 went somewhere else, not to your technicians and not really to you either. And so in this video, I'm going to show you where every dollar of that $14,000 actually goes. And you've probably had both sides of this conversation. A good technician comes in and he says he needs more money, wants a higher salary, and he's probably right. And then a customer leaves you a review saying that you're gouging people because the install came in at $14,000. And now you feel cheap to your technician and greedy to your customer at the same time. And that's a brutal place to sit. But both of those things cannot be true at once. And usually neither is, okay? Because the money is not sitting in your technician's paycheck and it's not sitting in your pocket either. It's getting spread across a stack of costs most people never see broken down. So let's break it down really quickly. But before I do, quick intro. My name's Gitis. I'm building Run and Call, which is HVAC software for 1 to 20 technicians. Flat rate, no contract, no protect fees. It's as straightforward as it gets. I'm not a technician. I'm a software founder. I run a small AI agency called Kunik. And we don't work with HVAC shops, but listen, all the numbers in this video are current 2026 numbers. So let's put it on the board. All right, now let's start with what an HVAC technician actually makes. Again, this is 2026 numbers. Nationally, across the US, you're looking at roughly $28 to $30 an hour. Call it 28 for this example to keep the math simple. Now take a normal residential install where you have two technicians and you have 8 hours each, and where every dollar basically is going to be spent, I'll show you, right? So let's say two techs, 8 hours, $28 an hour. You are paying them $448. So let's just say $450. Make things a bit more easy. Now, if you want to be fair and include payroll taxes, worker compensation, benefits, all that stuff that sits on top of wage, rounded up, realistically, you're looking at $500 of direct labor share. That means on a $14,000 install, the people who actually touched the equipment made about $500, okay, combined. That's the first number, and that's why this conversation matters. Because when customers think the install price means the technicians got rich, the math says otherwise. Okay, so where did the other $13,500 go? And there's 6 buckets that I'll walk through, okay? They're all real and they're all current. First bucket, you have equipment, which is roughly $6,000. Okay, that's the biggest piece by far. Manufacturer costs eat a good chunk of the install. So on a $14,000 job, around $6,000 is going to equipment. That's pretty normal. That's your Carrier, Lennox, Daikin, Goodman, whatever shop you're buying from. So right away, the biggest winner on the install is not the person installing it, it's the manufacturer. 2, you have the A2L, refrigerant, and that you're looking at around $2,000. Okay. The refrigerant transition made equipment just more expensive. So new equipment, that means new requirements, which means new controls, which means new safety pieces, and that added real cost. So call it another $2,000 on the install. Bucket number 3 is the tariffs. Tariffs, you're looking at, spell that wrong. Tariffs, you're looking at around $800. So a lot of HVAC components depend on global supply chains, obviously, like there's copper, aluminum, boards, components, and tariffs hit those costs, and those costs get passed through to these things. So add another $800. Okay, then you have bucket 4, which is, they have to get there. You have trucks, parts, fuel, etc. Let's say overhead, and that is another $1,500. Now we get into the shop side. Okay, so there's truck, fuel, recovery, parts run, wear and tear, all that operational stuff people maybe forget about, and that is $1,500. Then you have your software. And you have your software, which is, say, 400 to 500 a month. Well, it depends really. But here's the line that bothers me most. So software and like payment processing can easily eat really like 400 to 500 bucks per install in a growing shop. And your software vendor can make about the same money on the job as the 2 technicians who did the install, which is pretty insane. So what is left for the shop? For the shop, you are left with about 2.5K to 3.5K. That's what's left to everything else on your side, okay? Insurance, office payroll, rent, admin, taxes, actual profit, if there's any, okay? And once all of that gets stripped out, the owner is not taking home $14,000. It's not even close. So realistically, so the customer pays $14,000. Tech, labor, right? You have 500. Equipment, you have $6,000. A2L refrigerant, 2K. Tariffs, 800. Truck overhead, $1,500. All right, that's the stack. And I just want to talk about 2 numbers that no one talks about. So first, your technicians made about 500 bucks, and your software vendor also made about 500 bucks. Your techs did 16 combined hours of real work. The software did none, okay? Same money. Second, the manufacturer made about $6,000. The technicians made around $500. That's roughly 12 to 1. So if technician feels underpaid, I totally get it, because the math says the person installing the value is one of the last people in line to get paid from it. So why does this matter? So let's say your shop does, I don't know, 200 installs a year. At that pace, your software stack can easily pull 100 grand a year out of the business, and your manufacturer can pull over $1 million easily. And your install labor is getting squeezed. So if you want to create real room to pay your technicians better, you need to look at the lines that you can actually control. Okay. And one of the few lines you can actually control is this. Okay, that's the point. So there's 3 things that you can do today. Number 1, you can print this board, bring it to your next team meeting. You can show your technicians where the money actually goes. Because the conversation changes when both of you are looking at the same math, okay? Then number 2, audit your software stack per technician fees, module fees, processing fees, payment platform percentages, every line. Now, most 10 technician shops are paying way more here than they think, okay? 3, whatever savings you can create there, route it to your wages. Because if you can save, let's say $50,000 a year without touching revenue, that's $5,000 per technician across a 10 technician team. So you have same top line, better pay, less pressure. That's real. And lastly, but not least, Run-A-Call is live. We have 25 founding spots, 16 are taken, 9 are left. Founding pricing is locked for life at $200 a month. There's no contract, no per-tech fees, and no CEO getting on an earnings call and telling Wall Street, like my last video about Service Titan, they're about to squeeze more out of your shop. For a lot of shops switching off of bloated software, the savings are enough to make better pay possible without asking the business to magically create margin that isn't there, okay? And for the last 9 shops, I'll handle the migration myself. go to runacall.com.